gluten. Gluten has gotten a bad rap. Everyone's like, go gluten-free, gluten causes acne, gluten. Evil! And so in today's video, I want to tell you what happened when I ate gluten for 9 or so days. I ate gluten for almost every meal, and I want to tell you what gluten did to my skin. Stay tuned. On my skin clearing journey, I fell for all the things, right? When I was trying to get clear skin, I saw articles out there that said the diet was an incredibly important part of getting the clear skin. So once upon a time, I was extremely cautious with everything that I ate. And I had a very restrictive diet of no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no caffeine, no soy, no fun. It was a very restrictive diet, and largely a lot of what I thought about was acne or food. Those were kind of the two topics on my brain when I was eliminating all the foods, all the fun foods. So as the skin clearing journey continued, I started changing up my diet a little more, enjoying life a lot more. I stopped having so much restriction in my life, but I still really minimized gluten and grains even in general. I felt quite good doing that. So when my husband and I went to Italy on our recent vacation, which was like the best, we went to Sicily specifically, but the point is the food. If you've ever been to Italy, you know that there's a lot of pasta and pizza, along with, of course, meats and fish, but you know, when in Italy, I tend to gravitate towards the pasta on the menu. What ended up happening is I ate gluten for almost every single meal, but I'm pretty sure it was every single meal. So much gluten. This experiment wasn't on purpose, right, to see what gluten would do to my skin, but it was actually a great opportunity to see, because I convinced myself back in my skin clearing journey, like in the beginning, that I had to be extremely restrictive and very perfect in my eating. And when I wasn't perfect in my eating, I used to experience tons of guilt and shame, etc. And I would get extremely stressed and overwhelmed when I was choosing my food. But on this trip to Italy, I was eating pasta. Can you venture a guess as to what happened to my skin after 9 days of gluten? My skin, after 9 days of gluten, was pretty perfect. Nothing really changed, actually. My skin was awesome. And what's interesting is, during this trip, I was supposed to get my period. And so, you think that the week before the period, blah, 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 you get all the, at least the one pimple or, a few, because many people talk about hormonal acne plaguing us women, and yet my skin was clear. I mean, it was really clear. I did all my skincare, of course. While I was in Italy, I was wearing tons of sunscreen. I was reapplying sunscreen throughout the day even, so I wasn't just wearing one layer of sunscreen. Sometimes I was wearing 2, 3, 5 layers of sunscreen on my face, and yet my skin was great. The only area that I noticed that gluten affected me, and I don't think it was actually the gluten, it was just the high carb diet, because I did some research into this and I was eating a really high glycemic diet, meaning I was spiking my blood sugar and then I was having a blood sugar crash. So where I noticed the biggest difference in how I was feeling was actually my energy levels. My skin, again, did not change. So that meant that I would get a little groggy, but not always. That's why it actually took about 8-9 days for me to feel like a full-blown zombie. I kid you not, my energy levels were so low at that point, and they were pretty fine in the beginning. Like, I was fine, I was happy, I was enjoying, I was swimming, everything was great. I was sleeping about 9 to 10 hours a night, but I was getting groggy on that 9th day of gluten. And I noticed too, I was craving more protein and just plain vegetables and just like no more carbs. So it wasn't actually the gluten that was the problem. It was the amount of carbs that I was eating. That was the issue. The blood sugar crashes, it was a little too much for me. And I was also craving more food as well. So I was eating quite a bit more than I normally do while I'm here in Paris. So the reason for that is when we eat high glycemic foods, we just feel hungrier sooner after that. And so we tend to overeat in the grand scheme of things. And so that's what I was also doing in Italy, as I was overeating a little bit. By around the 7th, 8th day, I did notice that I was a bit more bloated. But otherwise, I still didn't break out. And by the way, the pastas that I was eating, there was cheese, there was cream, there was butter, there was all the dairy, right? It wasn't just gluten. Another trigger food that everyone's afraid of is dairy. Dairy is really an issue when it's skim milk or whey protein, right? That's kind of where you run into troubles with your skin, and you can exacerbate acne, make it a little bit worse. Like if you supplement with it, ooh, not a good idea for your skin. But what I'm saying is that after 9 days of gluten, nothing bad happened. What it did teach me, of course, is that my body is extremely intelligent and it knows that I don't need that many carbs. But before you start being like, oh, carbs, they make you tired, that's not true. There's low glycemic carbs that are amazing for your body. They're slow acting. They don't cause the same blood sugar spike and then crash. It's a more slow acting kind of release of sugar into your bloodstream, so your body slowly produces more insulin to deal with that excess sugar in the blood. And so you don't experience this kind of energy fluctuation that I experienced with gluten. And I'm not saying that it was very apparent in the beginning, but it did become apparent the longer I practiced this kind of high carb diet. And upon some research, I found that studies show that a moderation in terms of carbohydrates is the best. So people that have low carb diets and people that have high carb diets, those ones live the shortest compared to people with moderate amounts of carbohydrates in their diet. So roughly around 55%. Now I was obviously overdoing it on this trip, but I didn't feel bad about it. There was no guilt, there was no shame, there was no stress around the food. But when I started feeling really, really low energy, I realized my body was craving some protein and some other things. That's why it was 9 days of gluten and not 12 days of gluten. So for those final 3 days, I started eating more protein and more vegetables, and my energy levels immediately rebounded and I was back to normal. I was no longer zombie tired, literally zombie, like I was just like, bah, bah, baby, wait for me. Bah. That was me for like a good day for sure. The reason I created this video is because I know that in the acne community at large, there is this rhetoric around eating perfectly, honestly. It's not just, making slightly healthier choices, it's like eating perfectly. And then a lot of people with acne, they blame themselves for not eating perfectly enough, and they blame every subsequent breakout on the foods that they're eating. And what I'm telling you is it's just not like that. I've tested this in many different ways. It's not just the gluten, right? I've introduced so many culprit foods into my life, and I still don't experience any of the breakouts that I thought I would. It's because the clog starts in your pore. It doesn't start in your mouth, in your stomach, or your butt, right? And because many people don't understand how skin works, they blame it on so many other factors that just don't have that direct link that you think that they have. I'm not saying by any means, because people when they hear this, they're like, what? So I was so restrictive for no reason? Olena must be wrong. I will, defend my position and I will continue in my restrictive way of eating and blah, blah, blah. If it makes you feel good, do it. But I know, because I've worked with hundreds of women now, I know that for them, it was a point of huge stress, their food situation. As for me, it was too. Blaming a breakout on food makes you feel powerless, because then you're like, wow, everything I eat is causing the breakout. So then what it causes is this super unhealthy relationship with food. You become orthorexic, you begin distrusting food and your body that is so intelligent and only wants to heal you and help you. So I think that this whole conversation around food causing acne, especially gluten causing acne, dairy causing acne, soy causing acne, all these food in general causing acne, is really unhealthy for the person who has the acne. So what I invite you guys to do is follow your body. Your body always tells you what it actually wants from you, right? Like my body told me I wanted more protein and more, healthy fats and more vegetables. So I ate more vegetables and more protein, and then I felt amazing. But many of us, we don't listen to our bodies. Either we're practicing a habit, of unhealthy eating, and so it's hard to break if it's a habit, or we're being orthorexic. And I'm saying that you can have balance, and balance is really the key. Moderation is the key. We don't have to totally eliminate food groups, because many times when people eliminate total food groups, they don't replace them with the calories that they need, and so they end up under eating, messing with their metabolism, and then even gaining weight in the long run. Some people's periods disappear. So what you eat is important, but the intention behind why you eat what you eat is the most important thing. It's not what you eat, it's your relationship to the food. Why are you eating it? And if you're eating for clear skin, it's not gonna work, okay? You're not listening to your body then. You are eating what you think you should be eating and not what your body may be asking you to eat. That's why I'm not a follower of any one diet, vegan, keto, whatever, because my body knows. So this person or that person claiming, you know, that this is the best diet, there's no such thing as a perfect diet. There's just you listening to your body. There's you cultivating a really healthy relationship with you and listening to what your guidance, your inner guidance tells you. So we have to eat in order to feel good, not for skin health, not to clear acne. That's a terrible intention behind choosing food. Food is fuel, food is energy, food is not vanity. It's not, oh my God, will it make my skin clear or will it clog my pores? It can't clog your pores unless you put the food on your skin, in which case it will sensitize your skin and likely cause contact dermatitis. So don't put food on your face, but eat for health. Eat for well-being. Eat to feel good. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I definitely enjoyed all the pasta and all the pizza in Italy, but I realized that those amounts of carbs just didn't sit right with me. They didn't make me feel good in terms of my energy levels. My skin was of course unaffected because I knew that food doesn't cause clogging of the skin because I know how skin works, right? So obviously I didn't expect to be clogging. The other thing to consider in all of this is while on vacation, you're having fun, and while you're having fun, your body instantly puts you in healing mode, not in fight or flight. So that's another thing that helped me feel really extra awesome, is because I wasn't stressing about anything that I was doing. I recommend vacations for healing as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this perspective. I hope that you don't blame your food, the gluten, the carbs, whatever, for whatever you're experiencing. And if food affects your energy levels negatively and you're feeling sluggish, unfocused, etc., then yeah, you might have to make some changes for that reason, but not for your skin. This was Olena of OlenaPillay.com. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. I love when you guys share my videos with everyone. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. And I will see you in the next video.